She's not what you'd expect. She's tough and feisty, but gentle and tender. She makes millions and gives millions to the poor. She cries, she laughs, she teaches, she comforts. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
Hi, welcome to the Dani Johnson Show. Thanks so much for joining us today. Today, you're going to have the opportunity to save money. That's what you're going to have. You know that here every single day, 5 days a week, we are bringing you material that is going to challenge you to do better, to get more out of life, to define success for yourself, to challenge the status quo of success, because the world is trying to completely deceive you into spending on stupid things so that your kids do not go to college, so that your family is strapped financially. You are being duped every single day through all of the marketing, the savvy marketers who are trying to convince you that your money is better spent in their pocket than keeping it for your future. We're talking about money today. It is Money Monday. And on this Money Monday, you're going to have the opportunity to discover maybe where some of your money is bleeding out of your pockets, where your money might even be disappearing out of your bank accounts and maybe you don't even know where it's going. My coworker found this recent study. Rasmussen Reports recently surveyed 3,000 Americans and found that half of them spend more than they make for at least a few months out of the year. However, only 10% say that they are living above their means. Only 10% of Americans say they're living above their means. Americans are spending money without even realizing it. They don't even know where it's going. That's exactly where Hans and I were, by the way. And come on, I'm not sitting on my high horse right now and you're sitting there going, well, Dani, of course, you're all successful and everything. Dude, I did not start off this way. Get a grip. I was a homeless woman at one point at 21 years old with $35,000 in debt, $2.03 to my name. I grew up on welfare. I understand not having food sometimes. I also understand being a little kid and seeing that dinner sometimes was Wonder Bread. Do you remember that stuff? And margarine and garlic salt. Why? My parents made the choice to go out and spend more money on drugs than they actually did in feeding their children. That's my stepfather, by the way, and my mother. So the fact is I grew up poor and I grew up with poor spending habits. And when I learned the skills and developed the leadership skills of making money, when I began to do that, I didn't know how to keep the money I was spending. All I knew how to do was, I didn't know how to keep the money I was making. All I knew how to do was spend it foolishly, wildly. And it was going to places I can't even tell you where it went. All I know is the more money I made, the more we spent. And it took us 10 years of making lots of money. In fact, millions of dollars we made in 10 years, and all of it was gone. And I mean all of it. Not only that, but there was much more gone than what we made. Yes, we had made millions, but we were almost $1 million in debt. That's nuts. That's crazy. That's stupid. And where was it going? Oh man, to crazy little things. So we had asked a question to our faithful audience of the Dani Johnson Show, as well as our supporters on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Where's the dumbest places you have ever spent money? And why do we want to talk about that? Because we want to see you succeed financially. And sometimes when you can hear other people's stupid mistakes, it can kind of help you, look in the mirror and go, I'm doing that too. And you can now find a way and make the decision to get out of debt. You can now decide that I'm not going to live above my means anymore. I'm not going to put myself through the stress and pressure. And you're going to hear the stupid places that people have spent money. And you're going to go, well, that's kind of dumb. And when you say that, you can also say, well, where am I being dumb? And is it actually worth it? So we're going over the phones. Actually, we've got our first caller, Ryan, all the way from the Netherlands. Ryan, tell me, where is the dumbest place that you very humbly can share with us that you've spent money?
Hi, Dani. Well, this is very, very dumb. And it had to do with a situation a few years ago. where my wife and we really needed some finances. So this friend introduced us to this thing called Benner's Brokers. And he showed us some things on his computer where he invested some money and he had some return on investment. So for us, this was really very interesting. But the thing was that one of the things that I've learned up to that time is that you never invest in something that you don't have control over. And this was absolutely something that I didn't have any control over, because it had to do with property on the internet, and you could buy a part of that property, and then some other marketeers would sell that property online for advertisement, and the better those advertisements were doing, the bigger the chance you would get, or you would earn some money.
Wow.
But at the end of the story, we invested around 1,500 euros, and we had zero return on investment. So looking back, that was a really dumb thing for us to do. And I realized after a while that this whole company was a complete scam.
Yeah.
Actually, the founders, they were arrested in 2014, I think, because of this whole scam and pyramid scheme. So this was really, really, really dumb.
First of all, I love that you can look back on that. But you know what? I want to pull something out that you said, because it was really, really powerful. And that is that you invested into something that you could not control. And a lot of people do that. And then the other thing that to get underneath that, and let me just camp out on that right now, because it's Money Monday, right? And this is the day that we really set apart to just talk about helping people's finances. And so when we invest into something that we don't understand, and that we cannot have any control over, then we have the greatest shot of losing. And so really, you just gave up $1,500 just trusting the marketers that they would do what they promised that they said. And then you found out that they didn't at all. And so now let's look at this, because someone might say, well, wait a second, Dani, I don't have any control over the stock market. You know, how in the world then is anyone making money in the stock market? Well, most people don't make money in the stock market. And the reason is because they have no control over that investment. But this is what I love that my husband had done. You know that in 2017, he increased his ROI, his return on investment, by 20%, spending about 5 hours a week trading stocks in the stock market. Now you'd have to go, wait, how did he do that? He has no control over that. Yes, he does, because he set in controls that when something fell a certain amount, he was out. So he had these predetermined controls in there that if it reached a certain amount that it grew, he got out. Or if it fell a certain amount, he got out. So that he made sure that he never lost anything. So again, that's an investment he can control. So he has these specific alerts that show up on his phone that let him know that the very specific investments that he's making, he's actually controlling how far it's going to go down, and he pulls out before it's a loss. Instead of riding it down, expecting it to ride back up again, he literally just makes sure that he doesn't lose. He has this parameter set in here so that he has control over his dollar that he put into that investment. And so, yes, there are ways that you can have control even over something in the stock market. But in the case of what you were just talking about, Ryan, you're absolutely right. You didn't do your homework, right? You didn't really search it out to see whether or not these guys were scammers, whether or not it was even legal. And if you did a little bit more due diligence, you probably would have found this is a little fishy and a little sketchy. The other thing I want to focus on, Ryan, with you, that is also very interesting, is that you said my wife and I were in a place where we needed a bunch of money. Why were you in the place of needing money? That's the bigger question.
Yeah, that's a very good question. That's a very good question. Probably it had to do with, poor management of our finances.
Exactly.
Yeah, especially after, what we've learned now from you, and when we're looking back, even though we were doing bits of pieces from the things we've learned now, we didn't have the whole picture.
Right.
And we were one of the things I've learned from you is that you said, when you run after money, when you chase after money, you will lose it. Yeah. And that's the situation we were in. We were so desperate, that we were running all kinds of places. I mean, this is not the only thing where we lost. There were other areas, in the training community, where we were investing money, but there were no results, or there were poor results. Yeah. But we were still investing money because someone sold, some kind of result to us. Yeah. But it's what you were saying. It's poor. We did poor research. We didn't have the understanding and the skill, how to increase money and how to earn money. And that left us in a really desperate situation. Yeah.
So is it safe to say you're not in that desperate position again?
Absolutely not. Absolutely. Thanks to you. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, really
I appreciate you saying that, but the fact is that, yes, you guys got a hold of things like War on Debt. You've gotten a hold of the training materials, but you did the work. Do you understand? I did my part, but you did the most part. And it's because you guys were teachable and you were hungry and you never wanted to repeat those same mistakes again that you actually applied this very practical, simple information that comes from War on Debt and First Steps to Success. Because you did that, you now have the results and you're not in that desperate position and you're not chasing money anymore. So I'm so proud of you. I mean, this is really, really phenomenal to look back and go, yeah, that was dumb. And it's because I was chasing it. And it's because I put myself in a desperate position. And why? Because of the way you were spending money before. And so you're not spending like that anymore. You have a completely different mindset now. And you actually know how to kind of vet out real investments. That's the reality, is really vetting those things out. So you're not in that place. I'm really proud of you, Ryan. Thank you so much for joining us today. Have a great rest of the day. All the way from the Netherlands, by the way. Super late. It's super, super late over there. Hey, listen, you just heard what he said. I really recommend that you find our 10-day battle plan right now. It's a 10-day War on Debt battle plan. If you go over to the website, DaniJohnson.com, get into the shop. Click on the shop button. Do what this man has done. Again, DaniJohnson.com/battle plan. You need a strong and powerful battle plan, just like Ryan has had. Again, go to DaniJohnson.com. You can go to DaniJohnson.com/battle plan. Get a hold of it right now. Get a hold of that thing. You need to utilize it so that you can succeed and not make those silly mistakes maybe that you've made in the past. This is Dani Johnson. We're going to continue with more, looking at the dumbest ways we've all spent money so we can learn from it right after this.
Can we just be real about our stupid spending choices? When we come back, Dani will show you a new way to think about that money. More resources, more training, more results. The DaniJohnson.com Insider Membership is your ultimate success shortcut. Get exclusive access to reports, videos, audios, ebooks, cheat sheets, and other training for your personal and professional life. This is truly DaniJohnson.com's best kept secret. Become an Insider member today and get on the fast track to success.
Imagine living in a decrepit, unsafe hovel made of waste material on top of old mining tunnels that could explode and sink your home at any moment. Imagine no water to drink, no safe place to raise your children, no food for your starving baby. Imagine that your kids can't learn to read because they have to work to support the family instead of going to school. Could you imagine living in that kind of fear and hopelessness? This is exactly what poverty-stricken families are dealing with in Nicaragua. These families can barely meet their basic needs of food, clean water, and safe housing. But a miracle is in the making, and you can be a part of transforming Nicaragua. Be a part of this miracle. I want you to go to the website now and learn how you can help. Go to kingsransom.org and click on Nicaragua. There you can join with other warriors against poverty and help bring a miraculous transformation. That's kingsransom.org, kingsransom.org.
Did you know you can take the Dani Johnson Show with you wherever you go? It's never been easier to stay up to date with the latest content from Dani with the DaniJohnson.com app. Watch or listen in the car, at the gym, or on the go. Download it now from the App Store and Google Play and never miss a show again. Your family, business, and bank account will thank you.
Hi, I'm Dani Johnson. The most common question I get usually are from people who are trying to juggle their life. They've got kids who are involved in all kinds of activities. They've got business or their job, finances, trying to get out of debt, plus all their church activities and all the volunteer activities. And they're pulling their hair out going, how do I juggle this all? Man, I once lived just like that until I learned Time Secrets. Time Secrets showed me how to be able to cut my hours from 100 hours a week that I was working down to 20 hours a week and tripled my income as a direct result with what I learned. Time Secrets also showed me how to get my priorities in order, which healed up my marriage. And I became a mother that I was proud of versus becoming the mother I didn't want to be. And so if you feel like your world is running around in all kinds of different circles, you can fix that. Call 888-757-8880. Again, 888-757-8880 for Time Secrets.
Faith, hope, love, and sometimes a good swift kick. You'll find them all here. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
Dani, I make enough money. I can spend it on whatever I want. Don't you tell me how to spend my money. Oh boy, I'm telling you, I have seen and heard those words so many times. And yet, out of the mouths of those same people, just give it a little bit of time, they find themselves in a position where maybe they lost that income and wish they had not spent it on whatever they wanted. You know that Americans spend $1.33 for every $1 they make. Wow. Where is it all going? What are they spending it on? Well, I know what we used to spend it on. And really, did it give us the satisfaction and the fulfillment when we were almost $1 million in debt? Did it give us the hurrah, I feel so good about myself feeling when we were blowing it mostly on food and gifts for people who didn't need anything? Pretty much. So we've asked the question to our audience here of the Dani Johnson Show, as well as on Facebook, which again, if you have not come over and joined our supportive, amazing community on Facebook that will encourage you and love you and lift you up, that page is Dani Johnson Live on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So anyway, we've got Candice from Texas. Candice, I'm trying to open your line. Okay, Candice, what is the dumbest thing you have ever spent your money on?
Oh, hello. Good morning.
Hi.
I think, a simple answer is fast food.
Yeah.
Yeah, fast food. Then probably next would be, it was a school-related event. It was a sorority. I spent a lot of money on fees, and I shouldn't have.
Like, what's a lot of money on fees for your sorority?
Well, the dues were very expensive, and I only had so much money in savings. It was about $1,000 a semester just to stay in it.
What? So wait a second, you paid to be in a club?
Yes. Yes.
Like $2,600 a year?
Yeah,
$2,400 a year. Wow. Okay, here's what I want you to tell me. So you said fast food and you said spending money on your sorority to be a part of this club. Okay, so do you have any idea how much you've spent in fast food that same year that you spent $2,400 to stay in your sorority?
I mean, maybe at least half of that, because I have a problem. I love junk food and...
No, it's not half of that. Okay, so tell me, come on, where's your favorite fast food place? Come on, tell me.
Anything with a burger.
So is it McDonald's?
No. It was more like Sonic and In-N-Out and things like that.
Okay, so just give me the price of one run through the drive-thru.
Anywhere between $4 to $10.
Okay.
I don't know how much food I got.
Okay, so let's call it $6. Let's call it $6 somewhere in the middle, right? Okay, so if it's $6, how many times a day did you drive through?
it was usually a couple times a week.
Okay, a couple times a week. Okay.
Yeah.
You sure that's all?
It fluctuated. There would be 3 times, and then there was times I would just go binging and I would eat, basically like every other day. So I guess I would say at least $100 per month average, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's another $1,200, right? So between the drive-through and the sorority, wow, look at that. That's $3,600 in a year. So why, looking back, do you say that was the dumbest place I could have put $3,600?
Because, well, one, a lot of it, let's start with the sororities. The sorority one, a lot of it was coming from a place of unhappiness. I wanted to be in the club, not truly because of what it stood for, and it was a good club, but I had a lot of fun in it, but I did it just to feel good about myself. And
did it work?
To like me.
Did it work?
Barely.
What, did it work to the point of $2,400?
No, it shouldn't have costed that much at all.
Right. So it certainly wasn't worth $2,400, and the extra $1,200 in that year for fast food, right? So that $3,600 between the fast food and the sorority, you're saying right now, I did not get the value out of that $3,600.
Yeah, exactly.
It didn't give me what I really needed. So now what I want you to think about is, what could you have done with that $3,600? Let me just pause you right there. I want you to think about where you could have pointed that $3,600 that maybe could have aided in you feeling more confident and accepted and loved and encouraged. This is Dani Johnson. We will continue with more right after this.
Be sure to tell a friend about the Dani Johnson Show. It just might be the key to the breakthrough they need. Stay right here for more of the Dani Johnson Show.
The whole story of how I went from homeless to millions is right here in this book, First Steps to Wealth. I'd love to give you a free copy of this book. Just dial 888-757-8880. You can get your free copy of this book. It's like a real book, my friend. You can get an ebook copy for free right now, or if you'd like to pay the shipping to get this $15 book to your house, I'd be happy to send it to you. 888-757-8880. Get your copy of First Steps to Wealth today and begin on a brand new path of some great success.
Did you know you can see Dani Johnson live and in person? Go to DaniJohnson.com and find out about our next live event. First Steps to Success. Register today. Call 866-760-8255 or go to DaniJohnson.com/FSTS.
Prior to plugging into DaniJohnson.com, I was working 60 to 75 hours a week. I was completely stressed out. I was incredibly angry with my husband. We were in over $350,000 worth of debt. By applying the strategies that Dani teaches, in the last 3.5 years, we have paid off $170,000 in debt. We are no longer roommates, and we no longer spend every single cent that we make. We now have made tens of thousands of dollars in passive income in investments. We are on the right track. We're traveling around the world together, and we are building homes for those who really need it. So I don't know about you, but if you want to cut back from 60 to 20 and 30 hours a week, if you want to mend some relationships, if you want to make your life more efficient and a lot more fun, and you want to be the best version of you, I highly recommend that you get registered because your life is about to change.
Prior to plugging into DaniJohnson.com, First Steps to Success in Creating Dynasty, my wife and I were really lost. We were struggling in a relationship. We were struggling financially, drowning in debt. Our relationship was really broken. We were in a bad place. We were living in 2 completely different states and not really honoring each other. Once we got plugged into the community, we noticed a shift in our lives. Most importantly, we came together as a husband and wife. That was the first thing we did. And when we finally came together under the same roof, things started to change. Over the past 3 years, we've been able to pay off over $495,000 in debt. I know my business, I've had a job created for me that increased my income by 50%. That has actually opened up the door to allow my wife and I to spend more time with each other. So I don't know where you are. I don't know if your relationship is super awesome awesome. I don't know if your job is immaculate. I don't know if you're debt-free. But what I do know is if you're not any one of those things, your next step is to get plugged into DaniJohnson.com. Go on the website, get plugged into the community. I promise you, your life will never be the same.
Prior to plugging into DaniJohnson.com, I was a broke college student, drowning in debt, and I felt like the world was crashing all around me, and I had bad relationships. Since plugging into DaniJohnson.com and First Steps to Success, I was able to pay off $6,600 in 4 months. Now I'm able to give 10% of my income to wherever my heart desires. I actually, using the skills that I learned from Dani, I actually landed a job before I graduated college, and I'm able to travel the world. All I know is if you're serious about annihilating your debt, traveling the world, helping people, and having fun doing so, I highly recommend you get registered for the next First Steps to Success. Do it now, don't wait, don't even thinking about it. If you're ready to change your life, just do it.
We went to our first ever First Steps to Success just 10 weeks ago, and it has definitely been life-changing ever since.
We felt like we got hit by a 2x4, but it was the best 2x4 because what we realized is that our priorities were clearly out of line. I had been building a home-based business and had been working 80 to 100 hours, and I realized that that is not my role, and that I had actually taken my husband's, and it was that realization that something had to change, and we immediately went home and changed everything. There was no hesitation. We said, you know what, we need to be obedient to God.
And we've implemented the tools day one. We started implementing what Dani taught us, invested in ourselves, invested in our kids, got our priorities in line. We've now actually paid off just not quite $60,000 in debt and looking at a couple more investments here as head of the household.
It's been absolutely incredible. So I just encourage you, if any of this speaks to you, if you're wanting to get out of debt, if you're wanting better communication, if you're wanting to elevate to the higher level of life, get to First Steps to Success and plug into DaniJohnson.com.
What multimillionaire do you know that volunteers their time to help ordinary people like you and me? There's only one. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
So there you are. You're a college student, and you want to be in with the in crowd, and you want your junk food. So there you are, like Candice, spending $2,400 a year to be a part of the sorority and another $1,200 in a year on those cravings of that burger. That burger that just calls your first, middle, and last name. $3,600. Candice is saying that is the dumbest thing I have ever spent money on. So now the question is, did you get anything out of it? Like, was it worth it? Candice answered, no, it wasn't worth it. I really wished I hadn't spent it on there. So I asked her the question, Candice, what could you have pointed that $3,600 towards that would have made her feel fulfilled and confident and excited? And yeah. So Candice, what's your answer to that?
It's going to sound cliche, but I guess I would say I could have invested it. I could have given it away to more places other than church, because I tithe regularly, but I don't give to a lot more other things, and I've started to feel bad about that. Even though my church, thankfully, is one of those churches that give to many different missionaries and such, I could have spent it on that. And just in general, maybe just saved more of it for other purchases, things that actually needed, like clothes and things that actually, or books or school supplies, things of value that were actually in the moment, not, fleeting junk food.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so then my next question is how would you have felt if you had closed out that year with $3,600 in the bank?
I would have felt really good. To say the least, I would have felt really good.
Right? If you had $3,600 in the bank that year that you spent the $3,600, if you actually had that kind of cash in the bank, do you think you would have felt more confident?
I would have. I also would have felt a lot, I guess, smarter. I wouldn't have felt so bad.
Right. Yeah. So even just keeping the $3,600 because you said you already tithe and you're already giving to the poor, right? So if you would have had $3,600 just sitting in the bank as you're watching everybody else blowing cash like they're bleeding out, right? And you would have ended the year going, man, I got $3,600. Wow. And let me ask you, if you ended up that year with $3,600 and now here's your second year in college, so what would you end up with in your second year if you didn't blow it on junk food and if you didn't blow it on the sorority? You would have had $7,200 by the end of the second year. Now, how are you feeling about yourself?
It's depressing.
No, I'm saying to have $7,200 in the bank that you didn't spend it.
That would have been awesome. And then, of course, now I feel really, really bad that didn't happen.
Right. Okay, so now let's go to year 3. Now it's year 3. It's another $3,600 that you chose not to spend on sorority. You chose not to spend it inside of your junk food habit, right? So now we have $7,200 plus $3,600 again. So where are we now? Wow. We're at $11,000. Well, $10,800. Could you imagine your third year in college having $10,800 in cash, in savings? How would you feel as a 22-year-old kid that rather than spending $3,600 a year on the sorority and the junk food, but instead in 3 years you saved $10,800? How would you feel as a junior in college with $10,800 in cash?
Again, it would have been really, really nice to have that foresight.
Oh.
Yeah.
Would you feel confident?
I would. Yeah, a lot better. A lot better.
Would you feel more sure of yourself?
Most definitely.
Would you have felt more confident about your future?
That indefinitely, yes.
Would you have had more peace inside of your soul?
Yes, I would have.
So you said something about going to church. So I'm going to go there with you. What do you think God would have directed you if you would have asked him, God, do you want me to be a part of this sorority? And do you want me driving through with this money? Or would you rather me save it? What do you think your Father, the creator in the heavens and the earth, who desires for you to be more than a conqueror, who desires for you to be confident, who desires you to live in peace, which direction do you think he would have told you to go?
Probably the other one. But to the effect of the question, I did ask him around that time. Actually, it was last year when I had joined. 2016. So when I mean last year, that was my junior year. And so I prayed to God over and over. I said, Lord, is this good? I want to conquer my fear of this, and I want to be able to make a difference, and I'd like to be able to, say I had something fun in college, and I went for it. So, but now that you think about it, it might have been wiser. I mean, that was something I wrestled with for months. I was like, I wonder if this was the right decision for me to have made.
I think that it wasn't the wise decision to do, and that he would desire for you to be in peace. He would desire for you to walk in confidence. He desires for you to be the lender, not the borrower. And if you have nothing to lend, then you certainly can't be the lender, right?
Yeah.
Right. So you just totally demonstrated. Now I would have felt much more confident with $10,800. I would have felt much better about myself. I'd be much more sure about my future, right? I'd be much more solid. Yes, you're right, because that's the result of it. Because we're supposed to store money away for the future. We're supposed to store it away for in a time of need, so that we're not living in fear, worry, and anxiety. And so you clearly just demonstrated, and I love your humility to say the dumbest place I've ever spent money was on a sorority and junk food. So moving forward, girlfriend, maybe cut back on the drive-through?
Yes, definitely working on it right now. That's my New Year's, is learning how to appreciate money, because I feel like that's part of it. I haven't been super, super faithful. Yeah. Not always with that. So.
Yep.
Money.
Yep. So my recommendation, I don't know if you've heard about it, is a 10-day battle plan, the War on Debt battle plan. I want you to write this down, okay? The URL to go there is go.Dani Johnson go.danijohnson.com /battle plan. Again, it's go.DaniJohnson /battle plan. Can you repeat that back to me?
Yes, go.DaniJohnson.com /battle plan.
You got it, girlfriend.
Okay.
Get your hands on that immediately. Because you just said it. I need to be better with money. You are young, and it is time to win the war on debt. It is time to be the one in the exact position where God wants you to be, and that is to be solid financially, because you can rule and reign in the marketplace when you're solid financially. When you are weak financially, you live in fear. You have no confidence. You feel bad about yourself. You're always worried. And so when that happens, you're not more than a conqueror. Now you're always in need. No, you want to be the one that is able to help the real ones who are in need, the real poor, the extreme poor, the orphan, right? The sick, the elderly, the people who have been forsaken and left alone and forgotten about. Those are the people that we're supposed to be helping that are in need, not those who've made all these stupid choices and now they're dealing with their consequences and now they're in need. Do you understand what I'm saying? So anyway, I want you to join me on this declaring war on debt and join me on this adventure of being able to help care for the poor. I don't know if you've heard about our whole system of building 1,000 homes with King's Ransom Foundation. But as of December 30th, we had built 1,000 homes for 1,000 extremely poor families who had nothing. They had nothing but cardboard and scrap metal and scrap wood, and most of them plastic was their walls. And that's how they were living. They had no food daily. They were literally digging in the city dump to be able to find plastic, enough, 100 pounds of it, to be able to get a few pennies so that they could buy some food. This is not the way anyone should be living. And here in this country, we waste so much food and we spend money so foolishly, and largely because we don't have a vision and we don't have a purpose for our money. I believe that that purpose is twofold. That yes, we're supposed to store it up for the future, but we're supposed to take $1 out of every 10 that we make, and we're supposed to help those who cannot help themselves. So if you don't have a project you're working on right now that fulfill you, that satisfies you, that you can just sink your teeth in and just go, yes, man, this is powerful. Go to kingsransom.org. Again, that's kingsransom.org. You'll see right on the homepage, you'll see a young woman who's 22 years old with 2 babies. She is standing in a dump site where she's looking for food for her family. You can help her and the thousands of others just like her that need a home, and they need sustainability, and they need the education to get them out of that poverty. And that's exactly what we're doing. Building villages for these people and bringing education and putting them in business and teaching them how to run that business. kingsransom.org. And by the way, click to donate now. Click to donate immediately, because every dollar counts. $1 can help put up something inside of building that house for them. kingsransom.org. Let's build this round 2, the second 1,000 homes for 1,000 extreme poor families. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more after this.
Are you ready to hear the stupidest thing Dani ever spent her money on? Coming up next, Dani gets naked with her financial stupidity.
This is your chance. This is your shot. Get your copy of War on Debt right now. There's one waiting for you that has your family's name on it. And inside that package is freedom. Your freedom, your family's freedom is on the inside of that package. All you have to do is open it up, press play, and start applying what I teach you in this program. 888-757-8880. You and I are going to help your family become completely debt-free in the next 5 to 7 years. Just imagine how that's going to feel.
Did you know you can see Dani Johnson live and in person? Go to DaniJohnson.com and find out about our next live event. First Steps to Success. Register today. Call 866-760-8255 or go to DaniJohnson.com/FSTS.
My name's Derek, and this is my wife, Michelle, and we're the Holland Sheds. We live in Covina, California, about 45 minutes from here, and we're extremely honored to be able to share our story. And when we were approached about it, I was kind of thinking, well, where do I start? where do we start? But I'm going to start a few years back before there was a Michelle and Derek. Actually, I was actually debt-free, and kind of going along pretty good. And then a funny thing happened. I got married, and I married into debt. And okay, we're going to do fine. We'll pay it off, and life will be good. But a funny thing happened was that didn't seem to happen. And what, as a result, it, just kind of thinking it's going to happen, or we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and something always happens, and and the result is that debt doesn't get paid. So it starts becoming like an old friend. And then unfortunately the marriage failed, but I was able to meet Michelle, and we got married, and married into debt again. only now it's a little bit bigger, but at least the house that I had, this was during the housing boom, so used some of the equity in the house to pay that debt off, and okay, we got a clean state. Let's go forward. And but in our early days in our marriage, we had some difficulty as far as being on the same page financially, and Michelle will share a little bit more about that. And I guess it's a good point for me to hand it over to her.
Hello, everybody. Good morning. Like Derek said, honestly, you guys, the first 7 years of our marriage, when I came into our marriage, Derek he paid my debt off. And I ran our debt up 3 different times in the first 7 years of our marriage, you guys. I would have never imagined being in that spot. Derek didn't trust me. And it finally got to a place where, my gosh, I can't keep doing this. I was pretty much told to come to this event by a good friend of mine, and it was the best thing she could have said to me because it's what I needed. I would have not have come had I not have had that charge and challenge that way. The moment I got here, and we saw the war, I saw the war on debt, I said, this is it. This is our ticket. This is what's going to help us go to the next level. This is what's going to help us. You guys, we've since in 33 months, we have paid off over $159,000 worth of debt. We have money in savings. We have $300,000 in assets, income-producing assets. We continue to plug in. I was the first one to come, but immediately afterwards, I told my husband I couldn't wait. I called him. I told him about War on Debt. He immediately said, let's do it. We had some friends that hosted a War on Debt class there right after, and we went to it, and we found $502 worth of excess spending our first month, and we revisited our budget after that, and then we thought we were just broke, living paycheck to paycheck. We were overwhelmed. We felt hopeless. I never would have thought I would lose my husband's trust, and the techniques, the strategies that Dani Johnson teaches you guys helped us save our marriage, our finances, our communication. You guys, we started out with, my favorite product is spiritual equipping, and I know Darren has a favorite product.
We're on debt, and you think?
You guys, we kind of bought things one by one. However, you guys have a great opportunity outside that door, that table out there, where you can buy the whole DJ University curriculum, and you get almost over $1,000 off. So you have either option, but that's a great opportunity for you. Don't let anything stop you guys. There is hope, there is life, and I'm very grateful and honored to be here. So without further delay, you guys help us welcome back America's favorite millionaire and our mentor and coach, Dani Johnson.
The way you look at things is about to change. And now, back to the Dani Johnson Show.
Have you ever spent money on something totally unnecessary because you had to have it in the moment and because you thought you had the money? This is a question that we've asked our audience, and why? Because you know, here on the Dani Johnson Show, we defy the status quo of success, and we challenge you to defy the status quo of success. There are people out there just hunting for your cash so that your kids don't get to go to college, so that your future is going to be scary and fear riddled, as well as worry riddled, that your sleep will be robbed. There is a people out there who are hunting for your pocketbook so that you are not solid financially. And why? Because people who are not solid financially live in crippling fear. And fearful people are easy to control. How do I know? Because I used to be that person. It took me 10 years before I learned to understand how to use the tool of money. And once we learned it really well. This is why we have this show every single day, to challenge you and to keep you on track and to open your eyes so that you can be in a solid financial position. We're going over the phones because we've asked our audience what they've spent money on that's really dumb. Danica Robinson from British Columbia, welcome to the Dani Johnson Show. Okay, girl, just let it rip. What have you spent unnecessary money on unnecessary things, and was it worth it?
I can say right now, no, it wasn't worth it. I have spent, I guess, money on downhill skis, which I've maybe used 3 times since I got them.
Oh, no.
Kayak, which I can only use for 4 months of the year.
Exactly.
I didn't use it at all.
Okay, wait a second. So you bought a kayak. Wait. Time out. So you're saying that because you live in British Columbia, right? So it's freaking cold most of the year. So 4 months out of the year, you can even have the ability to use a kayak. Have you used it at all since you bought it?
I have, a couple times.
Couple times. How long have you had it?
But, yeah. 3 years.
Okay, so in 3 years, that gives you 4 months that you can actually use it. You've used it a couple of times. I love what you're saying, because you are helping people right now. Right now, they just saw the downhill skis that they bought and only used twice. Right now, they're seeing the kayak they bought and they've only used it twice. What else have you spent money on that was unnecessary?
I just went to my closet yesterday and found probably 5 or 6 clothes items with the tag still on them.
How much was it?
Never wore them.
Wow.
One was a very nice wool sweater that my mom got me. That was $180.
Ooh.
Okay, when that's gone, that's going back to Mom. Some of them were $20 up to $50.
Okay, so we're looking at several hundreds of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so tell me why. Tell me why you bought these things and then have either not used them at all or used them rarely at all.
Kayak and skis, I think, is mostly just to try to fit in with friends. So that way they'd actually include me in some of the things they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
In some ways. Clothes, because I liked them at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I got home and actually wanted to wear them, I didn't.
It's funny, we can laugh at it, but look at this. Okay, so how much were the downhill skis?
Oh, $500.
$500? Look at her, she's afraid to say it. I bet you're really glad that I'm in Texas and you're in British Columbia right now. It's going to be wringing your neck. Okay, so $500 for the skis. How much for the kayak?
It was 200 and something, I think.
Okay, so now we're at $750. Okay, the clothes is probably another $300 worth of clothes that you have there, maybe $400. So we are now at $1,200. Was it worth it? Was it worth it?
Can honestly say no.
Yep.
Wasn't.
Yep. What could you do with that $1,200 if you had it today?
Today?
Yeah.
Ooh, I could easily put 500 or 600 of that into investing in things.
Yes.
At least 120 would go to King's Ransom or another spot.
Yeah.
paying off a credit card. Yeah.
So how would you feel about yourself if you were able to pay off the credit card, donate to something like the 1,000 Homes or giving to an orphan, right? Or helping a girl get out of the sex trade, right? So how would you feel about yourself with that $1,200, even that you take a portion of it to make an investment? Would that make you feel good about yourself?
Definitely.
Versus trying to buy something to fit in with some friends?
Yeah.
Yeah. You could have rented the equipment and you could have borrowed somebody else's skis, right?
Exactly.
You now have a wool sweater that's never been worn and other clothes that have tags on them. Go sell them. Go sell them. You'll be surprised who will buy them. Seriously. Go sell them. You might have at least $200 that you can make back on that, and then you can do those 3 things that you just said. Go sell the skis. Sell the kayak. If you've made a mistake financially, sell the junk. Just sell it. No, you're not going to get what you paid for, but at least it's out of your hair, and now you've got some cash in it, and you've learned a valuable lesson, and now you know what to do with that money. I'm really proud of you. Danica, it takes a lot of humility to be able to make a phone call like that and to admit what you admitted. All right, we've got Margaret from Ragsdale, Tulsa, Oklahoma. No, sorry, Margaret Ragsdale from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Hi, Margaret, how are you?
Hi, Dani. I'm good. How are you?
I'm so good. Tell me, come on, what is the dumbest place you've ever spent money?
Well, there are so many things that I could point out, but the one thing that has haunted me for 20 years, and now it's not even a haunt anymore. It's something that I can chuckle at, and something that I point to when I talk to other people about saving money and paying off debt. It's like 20 years ago. I never balanced my checkbook.
Yeah.
I never even knew if I had money in my account.
Yeah.
And I wrote a check for a pizza lunch one day, like a lunch buffet.
Yeah.
And my total was like $5.44.
And?
But the check bounced.
Oh, no.
And so that $5.44 lunch ended up costing me right at $60.
Oh!
Most expensive pizza lunch buffet in the history, and it was so not worth it.
Nice one.
Yes, but it is one of those where I'm like, I'm going to tag that one up there as a lesson in stupidity to never be repeated.
That's right. That's right. So now you're balancing your checkbook. Now you know exactly how much money you have in there, and now you know exactly where it's going. So it makes you conscious. You're at least conscious. You're awake financially. Awake.
Right.
Most people are asleep financially. Literally, like they're driving their finances while they're sleeping. Could you imagine someone sleeping at the wheel of a car? It leads to destruction. Sleeping at the wheel of your finances also leads to destruction and will have you pay $60 for a pizza buffet.
For a bad lunch.
For a bad one. Wasn't even good pizza, man.
No, it's terrible.
And that was for one person.
One person.
That just sucks. And who won in that one? The bankers won. The bankers won. They absolutely won. They want to see you do that again and again and again. That's actually how they make money. Man, Margaret, thanks so much for your transparency. That's absolutely awesome. So what do we do moving forward? Well, you know what? We can look at other people's stupid financial mistakes and we go, you know what? I probably am doing that right now, and I can stop doing that right now so I can be financially solid. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more right after this.
Don't go away. The next segment might just change your life. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
The whole story of how I went from homeless to millions is right here in this book, First Steps to Wealth. I'd love to give you a free copy of this book. Just dial 888-757-8880. You can get your free copy of this book. It's like a real book, my friend. You can get an ebook copy for free right now, or if you'd like to pay the shipping to get this $15 book to your house, I'd be happy to send it to you. 888-757-8880. Get your copy of First Steps to Wealth today and begin on a brand new path of some great success. Imagine living in a decrepit, unsafe hovel made of waste material on top of old mining tunnels that could explode and sink your home at any moment. Imagine no water to drink, no safe place to raise your children, no food for your starving baby. Imagine that your kids can't learn to read because they have to work to support the family instead of going to school. Could you imagine living in that kind of fear and hopelessness? This is exactly what poverty-stricken families are dealing with in Nicaragua. These families can barely meet their basic needs of food, clean water, and safe housing. But a miracle is in the making, and you can be a part of transforming Nicaragua. Be a part of this miracle. I want you to go to the website now and learn how you can help. Go to kingsransom.org and click on Nicaragua. There you can join with other warriors against poverty and help bring a miraculous transformation. That's kingsransom.org, kingsransom.org.
More resources, more training, more results. The DaniJohnson.com Insider Membership is your ultimate success shortcut. Get exclusive access to reports, videos, audios, ebooks, cheat sheets, and other training for your personal and professional life. This is truly DaniJohnson.com's best kept secret. Become an Insider member today and get on the fast track to success. Helping you become all you were meant to be. And now, back to the Dani Johnson Show.
Hey friend, I know that you might be feeling a little naked right now. That's how they say it in the South, naked. You might be feeling a little naked right now with your finances, huh? You want to know what the dumbest thing I ever spent money on? Yeah, psychics, tarot card readers. Ooh, boy. In my early days when I had basically turned my back on my God, I was pregnant again out of wedlock. Yep. Second time. Actually, it was my third time. It was my third time pregnant out of wedlock. You would have thought I would have learned on the first one. Nope, not Dani Johnson. I'm a hard-headed, stubborn one, or I used to be. I'm not going to say that about myself right now. I can be from time to time. But yeah, I spent $1,500 a month trying to figure out the sex of my unborn child. Guess what? And I did this several months in a row. And friend, check this out. 50% of them said it was a boy. The other 50% of them said it was a girl. In fact, I remember doing this for hours. You remember the 900 lines? Yeah. This is 26 years ago, by the way. In fact, my daughter's birthday is tomorrow, January 23rd. Her birthday is tomorrow, and she was a her. And I was so glad that she was a her. She was so amazing. Anyway, listen, I know that you learned a few things today, but listen, we want to make sure that you do not leave today's show with not taking action. It is so important that you take action. Otherwise, you're going to continue to make the same financial mistakes. And we here on the Dani Johnson Show care more about your finances than you do. We want to see you on top financially. We want to see you be in the position of the lender and not the borrower. We want to see you financially independent, completely debt-free, owing nobody nothing. We want to have you feel that exhilaration and that confidence when you got cash in the bank instead of throwing cash in the trash. So get a hold of that battle plan. Don't be stupid right now, and don't be penny smart and dollar stupid. You know, people put up $500 to buy skis that they have used twice, but when it comes to taking $100 to invest in a system that's going to train their entire brain, their heart, their makeup, their physical body on how to declare war on debt and to win that war. So go here now. It's go.danijohnson.com/battle plan. Again, go.danijohnson, DANI, Johnson.com/battle plan. Get your battle plan and declare your war on debt right now. It's a 10-day battle plan that's going to revamp your mind, your heart, and your soul to no longer be the slave under that debt. And if you really got courage and you're really serious, you are going to join us in February in Dallas, Texas, the 23rd, 24th, and 25th. That if you not only want a financial overhaul, you want to grow your income, you want to completely revolutionize your relationships with your spouse and get a hotter marriage, then First Steps to Success is your first step towards a hotter marriage. It's your first step to reducing the stress and pressure in the home. It's your first step to getting that next job promotion or growing your business and exploding your finances to a place that will shock you. First Steps to Success, February 23rd through the 25th, Dallas, Texas. We'll see you there. Goodbye and God bless.
If this episode was an encouragement to you, go to DaniJohnson.com and share it with your friends now. You never know who else needs to hear it. This has been the Dani Johnson Show. Join us every weekday at 7 a.m. for more insights that will help you get to the life you've always wanted.